So last August, myself and a few friends decided to go to Calais in France. I used to live in Kent in the southeast, and we decided to go to Calais to see the refugee camp there. There's a refugee camp called the Jungle, and we used to see it in the news all the time. We used to see, what it was like, and that there was around 2,000 refugees there, so we just wanted to go and see what it was like. So we went, and from that day, from about August the 3rd or August the 4th, we started going every week, and then we started to raise some funds. We initially wanted to raise about £1,000, and we ended up raising £155,000 by the end of September. So at that point we were like, okay, we have an obligation now, like this is public money, we need to make sure that this money gets to the people that need it the most. So from September, October, we were working in Calais almost every week. I myself decided to go to Greece because I wanted to see the entry point to Europe, what was happening at that point. So we sent like four containers to Greece full of aid to the north, to the Greece-Macedonia border. And I spent some time there, did some clothing and shoe distribution. And then I went to Lesbos, which is where the majority of the refugees entered Europe from Turkey. So last year there was 1.1 million refugees entered Europe, around 600,000 entered through Lesbos. And Lesbos is a small island, and Mytilene has a population of 40,000, so very similar to Gibraltar, but they were having 25, 30 boats every night, 70 people per boat coming in to Lesbos. So I decided to spend quite a bit of time in Lesbos.
And what did you do there?
So when I got to Lesbos, I wanted to identify an organization on the ground called PICPA. PICPA is a camp for vulnerable refugees, so they look after maybe families who have lost 3 or 4 members of their family, and they're on their own, and maybe they've been in a shipwreck, and they shouldn't really be going to the normal camps. They're really dangerous kind of unorganized normal camps. Some of the camps out there when I first started, there was just 5 or 6 members of police and maybe 3,000-4,000 people. No food, no water, no clothing. So a lot of grassroots independent volunteers were going and providing that service and that need that the large NGOs weren't providing at the time. So I've done food distribution on behalf of Oxfam. They actually asked us to do that for them. We've done clothing distribution for Red Cross. So I started working at PICPA, and I was from the experience in Calais. I started by talking to the refugees, so sitting down with them, talking about their hopes, their dreams, their fears, finding out their story, bringing that human element back to the humanitarian sector, which I feel has disappeared from the large NGOs. The large NGOs are, bound by bureaucracy and policy, and I feel like the human kind of loving element has disappeared. So this is the approach that we were taking, and I had a lot of success in people, wanting to tell me their story and what had happened, and from that I was able to implement solutions in the vulnerable camps. So things like upping the occupancy so more vulnerable people can come, things like putting Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is a UN human right. They've said that people should have access to the internet so they can speak to their family. Sorting out their storage areas so that they can make more space and, basically make life a better place for them in the camp. So I was doing that during the day. I was doing some volunteer coordination, and then at night, from about midnight, I used to go to the southern shoreline of Lesbos. And when I first started, I started with one other person, and we would stay there from midnight till midday waiting for the boats to come in. I remember the first boat that came in was at about 4 o'clock in the morning. It was just 2 of us, and it was a bit surreal because I'd seen it in the news, but I've never thought I'd experience it myself. So we got down there, and the idea is to keep everyone calm. And some people are in shock, some people have never seen the sea. There's people in wheelchairs that are on the boat that are traveling on their own. People are hypothermic. So, the key is just to try and keep everything calm and stabilize the boat, get people off, and, give them water and stuff, and wait for the authorities to come and take them to the registration camp. So that's what I spent most of my time in Lesbos doing.
How has the situation developed in your experience? Where are we at now?
Okay, so they had the EU-Turkey deal. I think it was back in March. Possibly, I can't remember now. And the EU-Turkey deal pretty much stopped everything. So it got a lot quieter on the islands. The people from the northern border of Greece and Macedonia were moved to Thessaloniki. So there's about 25, 26 camps. Some of them have NGOs in, some of them are independently run. Out of the 25, 26 camps, 9 of them have drug abuse. Children are running around with dirty needles, there's hepatitis, there's no food, there's no water, there's no shelter. In one camp that I visited, women can't go to the toilet after 8 o'clock in the evening, and nor can children because they're abused. So we have like women's safe areas. So the situation in the north is pretty terrible, but you know, everyone's doing what they can. The Greek government is now trying to support the grassroots organisations, and some of the large NGOs are supporting some of those camps as well. In the Mediterranean, it's obviously increasing with the numbers of boats that are coming in from Libya into Italy. I'm moving to Thessaloniki in September, so I'll be working in the camps for about 6 to 8 weeks, and for about 2-3 weeks I'm going to be going to Libya to work on the search and rescue missions off the coast of Libya and Italy. So for me, the work that I've been doing in the last year is full steam ahead. I've got to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm in a position to be able to do it, and I just want to basically, you know, tell people what is happening, and yeah.
And how do you feel that public opinion is weighing in on this issue? I mean, is there sympathy for this cause in your experience?
Yeah, I think that when I first started, there was a lot of negative feeling towards us and the work that we were doing. And then the photo of Aylan Kurdi, the little boy on the beach, appeared, and sympathy, the minds changed because people could relate, you know, that little boy on the beach. Now, the amount of talks that I've done and the amount of contact I've had with the general public after people ask me questions and I start to answer them for them, things that they were thinking in their head, well, you know, why is this happening and why is that happening? We have the answers because we've been there, we've spoken to the people, we know how the NGOs work, we know their journeys, everyone from Syria to Afghanistan to Iran to the African countries, we know why they're leaving. We spent enough time with them. So for me, public opinion is important because I believe that the media doesn't communicate the right in the right way to the people. So people have you know, they're thinking about it in the wrong way. So I want to give the opportunity to people to ask me questions and to highlight and to spread awareness. And that's what my organisation does, the Worldwide Tribe. On one hand, we spread awareness and we tell stories, and on the other hand, we provide humanitarian solutions on the ground.
What are some of the most common questions or misconceptions?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, one of the questions we've had a lot recently is, why are pregnant women travelling? Why are pregnant women taking this journey? What most people don't know is that when those women start the journey, they're not pregnant. They're abused, they're sexually abused on the journey, they become pregnant on that journey. That journey can take, you know, a year, 2 years. So that happens on the journey. So when people have given birth on a boat on the way to Italy, you know, there's also another one would be, at first, you know, why was it mostly men? I mean, that's no longer mostly men, and the reason being is because the men would go and check if the journey was suitable and strong enough for the rest of the family. They wanted to go and risk their lives before. Another side of it is, in some countries the men are persecuted more than the women and the children, so there's different angles and different ways to look at it. In Eritrea, some children would leave on their own because there's child soldiers from the age of 12. But I think the problem is not just about war, it's not just about the Syria crisis. It's about climate change, and it's also about you know, economic reasons. You know, someone from another country is earning £1 a week and they have a family to look after. What would you do if you were in that situation? I would do the same journey, the same as they're trying to do the same journey to make a better life for their family. So the whole problem globally needs to be dealt with as one big problem, and not just, you know, putting a band-aid over the issue.
What are you hoping to achieve with your upcoming talk?
So for me, I want to give people the opportunity to, you know, ask me those burning questions that they've had about the refugee crisis. I want to increase awareness in Gibraltar. I'm from Gibraltar, so for me it's important that we increase awareness, especially because we are in the Mediterranean. We've had refugees literally across the water in Morocco. Bodies have turned up in Tarifa. I think it's important for us to understand, have more of an understanding, and also I think in the future it may affect Gibraltar. People don't think about it in this way. The mass movement of people is set to increase. It's not just the 1.1 million that came in last year. So what would happen if 10, 20 boats arrived in Gib. You know, because people have already spoken about it in the crisis, that the whole of the Mediterranean can be affected in the future by the mass movement of people. So I want people to start thinking about the refugee crisis and understand, you know, what is happening and why it's happening, and yeah, just start building awareness and seeing what people can do.
And how can people help?
So people can do anything from donating to our organisation, the Worldwide Tribe, and we have a page on Facebook. There's now 45,000 followers. They can also start their own initiatives here. You know, I'm on the ground. If people want to do something and they want to help, they want to send a container to Syria, or they want to send a container to Greece to help in the camps, or they want to come to volunteer, you know, get in contact with me. I'll make it happen, because I want people to see what is happening on the ground.